What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the FPL Inklink video. My name is Mo and this is my channel, FPL Inklink. If this is your first time, welcome to this channel, and if you've been here before and you subscribed, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about the position changes to players from last season who played in different positions and have been classified as a new position here by FPL for this season itself. There's a total of 6 players who have changed positions from positions they were in last season. For example, if they were a forward last season and they've been reclassified to a midfielder, or vice versa if they were a midfielder and they've been classified as a forward this season. How that will impact your scores, how will that impact your decision, or whether you're going to buy that player as a manager in your squad. We're going to discuss all that today. Will there be any potential further players that may kind of change positions? We'll discuss all that today in this video. So before we progress, and I'll start off my content, if you haven't hit the subscribe button already, guys, please hit the subscribe button. Help grow my channel. If you enjoy the content, hit the like button as well. And if you want to get the latest notifications of when I release my content, which will be regularly now that the new season and the game is up and running, hit that bell icon and you'll get that immediately as my content goes live. So let's start off with the players that have the positions have changed for this season. And to begin with, I'll be talking about Aubameyang. So Aubameyang last season was classified, well, he was classified as a midfielder, which was a surprise to many, especially myself. Maybe that put the jinx on him for last season, because before that he was doing absolutely phenomenally for Arsenal itself. That's just a part of a parcel joke. But in my honest opinion, he's always been a forward. Now, yeah, if you look at Arsenal's kind of like setup, they like to always play like kind of a Lacazette through the middle and Aubameyang and Pepe on the left or the right. But for me, he is critically a forward for Arsenal. When he's up, he's in that goal scoring position, he's in the box, he will score goals. If you look at his last 2 seasons prior to last season, he's always got 22 goals in both seasons, and he gets assists as well. So for me, he didn't play as many minutes last season as the season before, but I think this season will be the year for Aubameyang to kind of regain his form. They don't have the pressure of playing midweek Thursday or Wednesday in the Champions League or Europa League, respectively. They're not even part of the kind of Europa Conference League, or if that's what it's called, I think, along those lines. So Arsenal basically will be playing every weekend, potentially midweek cup competitions, but they should be relatively fresh. And I think Aubameyang, coming in at 10 mil, I think it's a fair price this season. I think the only thing that's going to defer people off him was obviously his last season's performance, but he's proved 2 seasons before that he has got the game within him, and he can score goals. A player can have a bad season, but yet he still scored 10 goals in a very kind of struggling kind of an Arsenal game, kind of force for last season. But he's been changed from a midfielder to a forward. At the moment, he's owned by 3% of managers. Is he on my watch list at the moment? Presently, not. But that can change. I'm never going to dismiss him. But if you look at his fixtures coming up in the first, let's say 6 game weeks, he starts off with a good friendly fixture against a promoted Brentford, but it is an away game. So that might be a challenge in the sense of, difficulty rating is only 2 in FPL, but I think Brentford with their first game might pose a challenge to Arsenal. And then they've got 2 difficult games. Maybe this is why a lot of managers like myself are kind of like put off by selecting him so soon, is the Chelsea home game, which is game week 2, and the Man City away game. But if you look at the fixtures after that, you've got Norwich home and Burnley away, followed by Spurs, Brighton, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa. So if you look in the first 9 game weeks, barring those 2 fixtures in the first 3 game weeks and the Spurs game, I think they're relatively friendly fixtures from an FPL point of view for someone if they want to own Aubameyang. And they've also got the differential aspect at the moment. The ownership isn't that high, and if he does score well, it'll be a good differential to help raise your rank. So that's the first player that's had a position change this season, which is Aubameyang from midfielder last year to a forward this year. He's gone back to a forward from the previous season before, and I think that's the right position for him in the Premier League. The next player to change their position is Stuart Dallas, who was pretty much nailed on the cards. I mean, the season before we had John Lundstrom, who, similar to him, was listed as a defender on the game of FPL, and players and managers scored a lot of points. Last season, they got 171 points from defence. And already he's owned by 17.7% of managers. He's a real popular choice. He got 8 goals and 3 assists last season with 12 clean sheets. So Stuart Dallas is quite a popular choice amongst managers already. Will he deliver? John Lundstrom struggled in his second season after when he was back in the Premier League, and he was moved to a midfielder. Wasn't that great for him in terms of points returned? But Dallas, they have a form of playing. Bielsa likes the aggression, and I think he's been put in the right position. Obviously, for managers, we would have preferred him in defence because we would have got more points. But I think it's a fair price at 5.5 mil for a player. He gives you 11 assists if you were to play, or if you were to have him on your bench. So that's the second player for myself who has moved positions. At number 3, it's Coyote for Crystal Palace. At the moment, he's only owned by 0.4% of managers, 4.5 mil. Now, the position he's changed from, he was a midfielder last season, and he's been listed as a defender for this FPL campaign. He got a total of 82 points last season, played pretty much every single minute for Crystal Palace, scored 1 goal, 8 clean sheets. I mean, for the value, for the price that you're getting, I mean, as a midfielder, he got 85 points, but I think if you put that into a defensive point of view with the clean sheets, maybe you could have been hitting close to 100, but at 4.5 mil, I think it's a good buy, to be fair. It's pretty much nailed on. But obviously Hodgson's moved on now. There'll be a new manager. Will they get any new transfers? For defensively, that'll be worth seeing. But Coyote at 4.5 is not a bad shout at all. Again, a differential aspect as well, but he was a midfielder last year. And this season has rightfully, in my opinion, been brought back to a defender, because most of his games last season he played as a defender, which I thought was quite harsh on the managers that owned him, because they weren't getting the clean sheet bonuses from him, which were like 4 points. I mean, they're only 8, but that's 32 points, and that could have made a difference to someone's season finishing in rank-wise, by a couple of thousand, or even in their own league. So I think it's been listed correctly, and I think he might have a good season. And it'd be a great differential aspect if we look at it from that point of view as well. At number 4, it's one of my personal favourites, MaitlandNiles. So last year, playing for Arsenal at the moment, last year he was listed as a defender. This year he's been listed as a midfielder. So if we look at his campaign last season, where he was at West Brom, currently back at Arsenal, he got 68 points out of around 1,700 minutes. He was on loan there. He got 2 assists and 6 clean sheets. For me, I think he's a very underappreciated and undervalued player. I think he has a lot to offer from an FPL perspective as well. If he were to get minutes, and I think if he was given a good run in a good team with a good attacking perspectives, I think he will go a long way. And he needs to be played in the right position. I don't think it's really fair on him because A, he hasn't been given the opportunities, and B, he might not have been playing in the advanced positions where he kind of fancies to play as well. Yes, a lot of people can say he's a bit more defensive, but for me, I think there's a lot more attacking returns for him. So I kind of understood him being a defender last season, but his real trait for me was being, kind of a bit further up the field. And obviously in Sam Allardyce's West Brom, he probably didn't get that opportunity. And obviously Arsenal wanted to send him out on loan, which they did. But he's back in this season, and I think, he's at 5.5 mil. Are there better alternatives out there? As I said, Dallas, yes. But I think he might be someone who is worth looking out for. Again, it might be a differential aspect. Will he go back out on loan to another Premier League club? And I think if he does, he'll become a lot more popular in terms of choice-wise. And clubs-wise, I mean, who would take him? Let's have a look. So you could potentially look at someone like a Brentford, who's just come back up. Maybe like a Brighton, who are doing some really good business already at the early start of the season. So Maitland-Niles rightfully back in the midfield position. And I think, there is something, worth keeping an eye on him for. In terms of fixtures, again, we went through them for the Arsenal with the Aubameyang game. Will be worth seeing if, once that City game's over, if he's worth bringing in. We'll kind of get an idea of how Maitland-Niles is going to be in favour or not. And number 5, we've got Matt Ritchie from Newcastle. Now, last season he was listed as a midfielder, and this season he's gone back to being a defender, and rightfully so. He's in the back line of Newcastle, and I think it was quite unfair that they did get only 3 clean sheets last season to him. But Again, that'd be an extra 4 odd points. He's priced at 5 mil. I think he's priced a bit high. In my honest opinion, A, Newcastle aren't great defensively, and B, I don't think he's going to score that many more points this season. So from my perspective, I genuinely believe that he's a bit too high. 4.5 would have been a fair price for him, and I think he's rightly being put back in his defensive positions. Let's look at some of his game fixtures. He's got West Ham home, first game. They got to a good start, Newcastle, last season. I think they won 4-0 in their first game. Jamal Lewis and I think it was Callum Wilson, a few of the goals within. And they got Villa, Southampton, Manchester United, Leeds. Now, for me, those first five fixtures are quite tough. He's owned by 0.3% of managers. For me, that's not a surprise. Again, it's your choice. You want to go differential, but for me, I think there are better alternatives out there for the price of 5 mil. Who I think can do a better job in a defensive role, and I think they have more favourable fixtures. So let's look at the final one, which kind of caught my eye the most out of all of them, which was Allan SaintMaximin. Now he suffered from long-term COVID last season, and Newcastle really did miss him when he was away during his illness. But when he did come back, he did show a lot of potential. 3 goals and 5 assists for the time he has played, only 1,500 minutes, 85 points. So he's done really well. He's owned by nearly 4% of managers already. Again, we've gone through the fixtures for Newcastle. Will he give him an attacking threat? Maybe against West Ham, maybe against Villa, maybe against Southampton. Again, United as well, and Leeds, who play quite attackingly. So it'd be worth keeping an eye out on him. He might be someone who kind of hits form, and he might become a favourable choice of many managers. And that's someone like myself. I've got him on my watch list. I will keep a lookout, especially in the first two games. See how he does, and if he hits a bit of form, I may be tempted to bring him in for the Southampton game. Whether I play him in the United game or not, entirely to be seen. But then he's got some good fixtures in terms of Leeds, Watford, and Wolves. So that is someone who I am keeping an eye out for. And as a forward, I think he's a midfielder personally. You've got Joe Linton, you've got Callum Wilson. I don't really see how he's a striker, but he's been listed as a striker this season. It's a shame because for every goal now he'll get 1 point less, whereas he would have got 5 points per goal. He would have scored as a midfielder. So that's the only kind of down side of this movement for me for Allan SaintMaximin. So those are the 6 players that have had position changes thus far, this season in this game so far. There might be some more changes that may come out, obviously with players returning, new signings, etc., etc. But for now, as this game has been released, this game. So for the first game week, we're looking at these 6 players who have changed their positions for the FPL game itself. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. Keep watching my content. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you please like the content, hit the subscribe button. Help me grow my channel. And thank you to everyone who has watched, taken out their crucial time, watched my content, and have subscribed and liked and left some really nice comments on my social media, which includes the comments on here, Twitter, and my Instagram too. The new league code, guys, is in the bottom left. Please join the FPL Inklink League, be part of this community, be part of this channel, and let's make it a fantastic season for everyone who creates a team and manages their team throughout the season. This season, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to play it different. I'm going to have a new frame of mind. I'm going to see how I can play it differently, because last season, to be fair, I didn't play the whole game, kind of missed it a little bit due to family reasons. But do you know what? I'm back with a passion, and I'm going to look to see how I can help you guys get to the best position you guys have received in terms of ranking, and make you guys enjoy the game with best facts and immediate news, which I do here. Have a great one, guys. Look out for more content, and I'll see you guys soon.